Hi everyone. I was just wondering what to play with next. And I thought texture. So I grabbed out this. I did these years ago. And last night I was just having a little bit of a go with my little watercolor thing here to see if I could, you know, do something with some of them. But I thought, well, let's just have a look. These are made with tissue paper. Just not even tissue paper, just tissues, you know, and a stamp. And they give a beautiful texture. Like I said, I did these years ago as an experiment, but I've kept them. You know, I might do something with them. Let's just show you one here. So you can do things on the top of that. See how it's, the top of that would actually, let's just grab that. If we just very gently rub that across, see how it's picking up that design at the top bit. So there are different techniques, you know, or if I pushed it into the back there, I'm getting that back edge. But yeah, you can age this and make it look like it's some part of an interesting wall. I do actually have a piece I could show you where I have used that to really good effect. Maybe I'll grab that out soon anyway. But yeah, it's just sort of showing you these things could be very useful, and although this isn't to my taste anymore, this I don't know what I was planning there. Yeah, but it can be adjusted. I'm going to try and push some darker color into the background, not being overly careful, flood it with a little bit of water. But these things, you know, if you've got a few stamps, a favourite stamp sometimes, yeah, could be very nice. So, yeah. So it has two levels. It has more than two, but two levels will do us to think about at the moment. And what happens is you've got a colour in the background. So I could play with that. I could do a lot of things to that. Doesn't really require any painting skill or anything, or let that one dry. You can use you know, those oil painting sticks, things like that, or the rubbing kind of things. I've probably got some here somewhere, but I'll show you that soon. This is just to get your appetite whet. And these were all done with just tissue paper. Not tissue paper, stop saying that. Tissues, absolute tissues. So this one here was done with that. But this is perfectly, you're able to stitch through this. You know, you could incorporate this in your works. See, that's that. So that no end of things that you could play with that. Okay, so I'll just quickly show you how I did do one of those with the tissue paper, and then I think we might play with a few other things and just see a little bit more experimentation. So there's a little jar. Now you can use your Mod Podge or your cheap PVA glue or whatever. I'm not going to be fussy about that. So take a bit of that and not quite wet, so at least half and half. But it's the PVA in that allows this to stay permanent, you know, even though I've wet these things when I'm painting them, it's still staying in that, you know, embedded design. So a little bit of PVA in your water there, and yeah, so this one here, well, I would start by doing this. I think I need a bigger one. Just getting that a bit on you. Need a bigger brush though. I'm not really being prepared. Anyway, this'll do. So with each layer, like that, I'm going to try and get these. See how I pressed on that and a lot of that came through. Now you may not want to have that outside there. You may, you know how these, I've got this little deckled kind of edge here. You may not want that. You may just want the actual flower, and in that case you can trim back. But I quite like that. So I don't know how, I've used one tissue there. I don't know how thick that is, but it's sort of folded over a few times. Right, so you can see it there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press it down like that. And I'll wet a little bit of this because I'm not sure whether I want to cut it back or have it as a background yet. Now I dare say if I wanted to, I could crinkle that up a bit more, whatever, if I wanted some real texture in it. Now, I can already see it. I don't know if you can. It's already there. See? That lovely flower. So I'm going to take it off. If I was really worried that it wasn't working, I'd leave it on for a little bit longer. But, you know, I'd probably take it off before it's dry. Although I don't really think that's going to damage you too much. But you can wipe it off if you're really worried. There we go. So that's one thing, and that's what I've already done in the past, and that's, you know, that's fine. We don't really see anything just yet. Whilst I'm there, I was thinking, I wonder what happens. I wonder what happens whilst it's wet. If I just add a little bit of watercolor, are we starting to get something? Let it blend in. Anyway, wonderful experimentation in that. Loads of things we can try. What I was looking at next though is I was wondering, can we do it in paper, in tissue paper, like I keep accidentally saying? Well, maybe we can. Yes, okay, here's one here where I did try it with tissue paper just to see what it would do, and I'm sort of holding back on that. That was this, and it's not a very deep imprint on that, so I don't know whether that will work, but we've tried it. We'll see about that one. Yeah, so I've had a bit of an experiment, and I've grabbed out one of the old tissue paper ones, and I've just put a bit of a background colour on it there. It's me just playing here and just seeing what we might find interesting, you know, what we can use. So here's one here. Can you see how it ended up? It looked to me like it was, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of the word, something ancient, you know, in amongst the rocks, like a Tibetan calendar or something. I don't know, something like that, Mayan. So I used it, and then I also had some stitching. I couched on a little bit of this here, that looked like moss. It's just a thread. This is a little bit of Tyvek and a couple of beads, but it really did look the part to me, really did. I'm going to try one more thing with the other tissue paper. I don't know that it is going to go through. I would like it. I would like to get this to work. Might just take a little bit more experimentation. I am determined. I'm going to try it with this. Just because it molds a bit better. I'm just seeing if I can poke in some into those flowers and get it to actually show up, but I don't know. Might be worth experimenting with some coloured serviettes. They're softer than this wrapping tissue paper. Well, I'm not holding out a great deal of hope because I can't really see the pattern in there anyway. So that's my latest one. I got black tissue paper. I put a little tiny bit of ordinary tissues, and then a little bit more black. That one, don't know about that. So nothing, I'm not considering anything a disaster. The flower one that was done in the tissue paper, I've just dropped some colour on, some purple, some blue, some green. And now I have picked up, what I've just picked up there is some rubbing gold. So it's like a polish almost, and you put it on your fingertip and you can just drag it across and it will colour just the bits that are poking up. So the other bits are in the background. So that's why on this one we put a dark colour down first, then we rub the gold, and yeah, sometimes it shows up really well. But it's another experimental thing. We will see. Here's another that I thought I'd resurrect. I did it, like I said, many years ago. I'm wanting to make it look sort of more aged. I put some black into the background, and I'm just rubbing some gold across to see what happens then. And it doesn't matter, you can't go wrong. You just add more things or take things away, or, you know, it's what is it in the end? It's a bit of tissue paper. So, you know, have fun, experiment. Here's another one that I cheated with. I had tried this fern, a fern stamp, but it really wasn't a very deep or crisp kind of indentation. So once I'd finished it, I ended up putting some gold stamping pad. I used that and I stamped it on. So I've picked out a little bit of bronze, and I've gone over it just like I did the other with the gold, and the same here. Just to pick up a little bit of that, the top layer. And here's another thing we can try. I have some little Shiva sticks, or they're sort of oil paint in a stick form. Anyway, but they're very similar to what I was using before, the rub-on colour. And but these are in a little stick form so that you can use it like a little pencil almost, or a crayon. And it hasn't been used for many years. It's been sitting in a drawer, so it develops a skin, and you peel the skin off, and then you're right to go. But it does add some lovely colour. And this one, it's picking out a nice face. This one is still slightly wet. I've tried to do a little daisy kind of thing on a stamp. It's the black wrapping tissue paper again, and I'm just using a gold here just to see if we can get it to show up for you. Okay, well, you can see here I've had a little bit of a rub there. Hasn't really shown up any writing as such, but that's still quite an interesting thing. I used a little bit of glitter on it as well whilst it was still wet, thinking it might do something. So that's something interesting. This one here is the black one. We can't really see a lot of it. Let's just try. You know, you don't need to use these. You could use a crayon. You could use a dry brush with a little bit of acrylic paint, something like that. There are a lot of things that you could use to just rub across it. Coloured pencil perhaps to, you know, just pick up that layer. Just think brass rubbings, that's really what you're doing. What else did we play with? This one here, I started to put just dropped some watercolour in to see what it would do. I'd still want to play with that, but... And this is another one of those Shiva oil sticks, and like I said, it's been a long time since I've used them. They do come in a lovely range of colours. But this one does have that skin on it that forms, and that's fine. You just pick that off till you get to the layer that will transfer colour. Now, I've been playing around with this one of these roses I'd already done, and I've been adding colour, and just thought I'd see what that's like to use on that top relief. But really, you could try any of your different mediums on this. It would be great fun, great thing to play with. And you can see that, you know, the opportunity to bring in that third dimension to your sewing and to your paper craft work is brilliant. So let's just have a look. I've grabbed a doily, and I've grabbed an embossed sheet of scrapbook paper behind, and here you can see I've even started to put it together. I'm going to put that in the next episode though, and we'll see what more fun we can have with colouring and using these lovely casts we've made from our stamps. So don't forget, press like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this and want to see the next episode. All of my details are below, and thank you again for watching. My name's Tracey from Art Fibre Stitch.